Welcome back to another Long Way Home episode, everybody. Today we are in the garage with Honda's brand new CB750 Hornet. I've been lucky enough to have it for about a week now, which means that I've sort of gotten to know all of its good sides, all of its bad sides. So if this has made your shortlist, stick around. As you might have guessed by now, the centerpiece, the masterpiece of this whole entire bike is that engine. This beautiful, beautiful, beautiful parallel twin over here. A lot will say that the Hornet is not a Hornet anymore because it's not a four-cylinder, it's not a sporty bike. Honda has obviously went for a parallel twin, as most other companies do these days, because it's easier to manufacture, it's cheaper, it's also cheaper to maintain. However, they have tried to make the best of both worlds by making it sporty. This is not the same parallel twin 270-degree crank that you find in a Tenere 700, for example. Completely different beast. Even riding around town, the masterpiece of this bike is still its engine. It is such a blast. It is so much fun. I don't know, it feels young. Whenever you need power, it's just there. Now, the way they did this, and it's gonna sound a little boring, and I don't think I've ever used these words on this channel before, is to make the stroke shorter than the bore, which means that the cylinder is actually very wide, but it travels very little distance, which means that you can rev it up to 10,000 RPM. So it is sporty. It gives you that instant power, that instant adrenaline that you're looking for, because it is a high revving engine. It warns you at about 8,000, but you can still take it. It's still got plenty of power, all the way up to 10,000. The problem with these sort of engines is that you really don't have a lot of low down power. You've got mid power, top end power, but not really a lot of low down power. What Honda did to combat this is play around with the airbox, out of all things. The airbox has got 3 different channels. You've got 2 on the side and 1 straight one in the middle. The 2 on the side create little air vortices, which means that the air spins faster, which means the engine gets more air. At the end of the day, you've got great low down power. So not a 4-cylinder, but it might as well be a 4-cylinder because it is a lot of fun to ride. I've had a blast on this engine in town, on back roads, not on highways, which you've got plenty of power there, but you're not going to have a blast on it. Paired together with this end can, the noise and the excitement when you twist that throttle is just mind-blowing. I was completely surprised by it. I was not expecting this bike to be so much fun, but it is. I did a little test on the end can. It comes with 2 different chambers, separate chambers individually. You've got a bigger pipe and a smaller pipe. One of them is for the low-pitched noises and the other is for the high-pitched noises, which means depending on how much throttle you're giving the bike, how fast you're going, it's going to sound completely different. And factory-wise, it sounds brilliant. Apparently, Honda does have a separate aftermarket one, which sounds even better. Haven't tried it out, but this one is enough. This is just the low pitch chamber. This is just the high pitch chamber. The gearbox, transmission, absolutely flawless, no false gears, easy to find neutral, easy to switch gears. This specific bike does come with an optional quick shifter, which is a lot of fun. And if you are thinking about getting this bike, get the quick shifter as well. It's going to make life a lot easier. That quick shifter is great. Don't think about getting it without the quick shifter. It'd be a big mistake. The agility of this bike is just, again, mind-blowing. It's very easy to go into left corner and then all of a sudden come out and switch to the other side. It's extremely easy to lane split between cars if you're into that kind of thing. And apart from it being a short bike, which obviously adds to it being agile, the Japanese did put a 160 width tire on the back. Usually you just find 180 nowadays on pretty much most bikes. You got a 120 width on the front, 160 on the rear. That's going to make it a lot easier to mow around town on. Both of them 17-inch cast aluminum for my American friends. Suspension wise, you've got 130 millimeters of travel on the front. Upside down forks, not adjustable whatsoever. I would not be expecting them to be adjustable at this price range. You've got 150 millimeters of travel on the rear. The monoshock is preload adjustable though. The suspension on really bad roads, really uneven roads, was actually more than I was expecting from a city bike. With that amount of travel that it has, it never bottomed out. Obviously, I didn't take it off-road. But it took care of all those bumps, more than adequate for me to have enjoyable ride even when the road surface sucks. Okay, this is a very bad road surface. It's old school concrete. Suspension is not doing a terrible job out of saving my butt. It's also not doing a great job, but this is not the type of road the Hornet was designed for. Yeah, this is a great place to test out suspension, by the way. Which is fine. Again, for a city bike, for normal kind of roads, absolutely no problem. Electronics. Now, again, 8,500 euros, 7,000 pounds, probably 8,500 US dollars. You guys do weird stuff with the tax there, so it might be 8 grand without tax. A lot more electronics than I was expecting. 5-inch TFT, which looks brilliant. Traction control, ABS, Bluetooth connectivity, that's just mental for this price range. An immobilizer and a lot of customization. You've got 4 different themes for the TFT that will show you all of the data in very different layouts. You can even customize things like how the quick shifter shifts gears. I mean, again, price range. No cruise control, unfortunately. The button layout is kind of typical Honda, but since there aren't as many buttons as on an Africa Twin, you'll get used to it quite easily. Top tip here, to actually get into the settings of the menu, you have to hold the joystick to the right a couple of seconds. That took me about a day to find out. I didn't read about it anywhere because it wasn't anywhere, so I had to call the dealer. It's not as intuitive as I would have liked it, but you'll get used to it if it becomes your daily rider. Design-wise, I like it. I know a lot of people don't, and I think they don't because in their infinite wisdom, when Honda started marketing and teasing us with photos of the Hornet, design photos, it looked better in those design photos. Obviously, not all of those changes have been put onto the production bike, but I still like it. Actually, looking at it right now from this angle with this end piece here, I'm not gonna say it, but it looks like a lady. The rear I like quite a lot. It's very tidy. It's got very sporty, racery kind of looks. I like the contrast between the paint color, depending on which one you go with, and the black plastic. The red on this chassis is absolutely amazing when the sun shines on it. This part kind of tries to look like a Hornet. Maybe it gets it right, but I like this little piece over here. The front, I'm not very happy with, but all in all, it's a good design. It's not wow, but it's good. When I got it, I wasn't expecting to be comfortable in it. It's a small, sporty city bike. I'm not really as young and fit as I once was, but the sitting position is a lot more adventure than it is sporty. Yeah, I don't have to lean like this all of the time. You are sitting mostly straight up. Your hands are almost straight. There's a bit of an angle in your legs, but all in all, I mean, I've ridden this without getting off it for, I think the most was about 2 hours. Not a problem whatsoever. Maybe a little pain in my right hand, but it's a lot more comfortable than it looks. All right, let's move on to some things that I did not like about it. The brakes, number one. The brakes they're not there to stop the bike. The brakes are there to allow you to go faster, because if you don't have brakes, you're just going to be riding very, very slow all of the time. If you do have good brakes, you can push the bike a lot more than you would. 4-pot Nissan calipers, but now I'm not very happy with them. They could be better. These brakes, 300mm discs, Nissan 4 calipers, they're okay, but they're not brilliant for a sport bike. I would much rather have seen some better Brembos on there. I know Honda has built the bike to a price range, which is, by the way, 8,500 euros in Romania, where we live, and this is competitive. This is brilliant pricing. But I would have loved to see, I don't know, maybe take something else out and put some better brakes on there. Secondly, a snatchy throttle. This was my biggest turnoff when I got the bike. I played around with all its settings. Nothing really happened a lot. I mean, you can turn the engine braking to 1. You can't turn it to 0. You can turn it to 1 out of 3. It does help a little, but going around roundabouts in second, you're gonna get snatched a little. See, going around this roundabout, this is what I'm saying about the snatchy throttle. You really need to, I don't know, to finesse it quite a lot. Otherwise, it'll just snatch. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not pleasant. This is very similar to the Tenere 700 snatchy throttle, which I dislike profoundly, but Yamaha seems to have fixed it in the Tenere World Raid. Same engine, same everything. They fixed it. I hope Honda, does the same. Comfort for a passenger, not very comfortable. I did have a passenger on here and she wasn't very happy. There's nothing to really hold on to. It is a sports bike. It's not a proper touring bike, but she didn't really feel comfortable on here. So keep that in mind if you're planning to do some touring with a passenger on the back. No thermometer. Honda put a lot of electronics on here, much more than I would be expecting in this price range. And I know I complain when I don't have a thermometer on a motorcycle like a little princess, but I want a thermometer because I want to know how cold it is out there, how warm it is out there. I know my skin can feel it, but I would still want one. It's not that expensive. It's like $1 if you buy it from wherever Honda buys it from. Mirrors might as well not be there. Almost half of them are covered by my jacket, by my shoulders, which means that every time I want to see if somebody's right behind me, I have to do that and take a look, which is, make them a little longer. That's it. I'm not having a lot of fun with the mirrors, both of them, because, I don't know, they might as well not be there. Almost half of them are filled up with my arms. So whenever I want to see if there's somebody behind, I have to move my head. I think with riders that don't have broad shoulders, this shouldn't be a problem, but it is for me. And that's about it for all the nagging, which is quite a short list. It's usually longer. All right, so in conclusion, this is a very fun bike, which is pretty much what bikes should be. Bikes shouldn't be the things that get you from A to B, unless that's the kind of thing you're into. They should be getting you from A to B in a very fun way. And the Hornet is exactly that. The fact that Honda managed to take this out to market for 8,500 euros, all taxes included, is just mind-blowing to me. If you remember, if you watch my original Tenere 700 video, what upset me the most about that bike is that it was too expensive. It was $10,000 when it was released. It's a bit more now, actually. But that was too expensive for the amount of stuff it actually didn't have on. This one has got riding modes. This one has got a TFT screen. Ride-by-wire, 20 more horsepower. It's got 90 horsepower. It's by any means of the word superior to the Tenere. Obviously, it's not an adventure bike. The amount of stuff Honda's put on here for 8,500 euros is just mind-blowing to me. So, well done on that. If this has made your shortlist, don't wait around anymore. Go to Honda, try it out for yourself. You're not going to be disappointed.